Today Riot released an update video talking about what's coming in the future for Legends of Runeterra, and I personally think there's a lot of things to be very excited about in the video, and I wanted to talk about it. So rather than just kind of give you a rundown of what they covered, I thought it would be kind of neat or fun to play the video and then kind of talk through it with you. So we're going to put the video up here in just a minute, and then we're going to play it, and then I'm going to pause it periodically and kind of talk about what I'm excited about when it pops up. All right, let's kick things off. So again, this is the video that they released today talking about things that are coming in the near future. We're going to get to see...
I'm Jeff. I'm Andrew.
Jeff and Andrew
Yip.
About
what's coming up next for Legends of Runeterra in 2020. We're in two different places, but through the magic of video editing,
I'm really envious of a lot of the statues and things that they have in the background, I'm not gonna lie.
Update. But before we dive in, we want to share some thoughts on how we decided what to develop next.
We believe that for our card game to stay engaging for years, we need to bring more than new cards to the table. We're always asking ourselves the question, how is the game more fun today than it was yesterday? So although we've only been out of beta for a month, we're already thinking about the next thing, and the two things after that.
Our goal has been to develop an entire ecosystem of modes and features for you to show off your skill. And today, we're going to share some details about the ones coming to Legends of Runeterra over the next few months.
Let's get after it!
Gauntlets!
There's more than one way to challenge your skill in Legends of Runeterra.
This should be pretty
Sometimes
familiar if
you
you're
might
coming
live
from the
for
Elder
the
Scrolls
climb of rank,
Legends.
while other times you might prefer to test your drafting ability in expeditions.
And some days, it's all about the fierce competition of the emote meta.
But when it comes to different and exciting ways to use your collection of cards, we've barely scratched the surface.
I want to pause real quick, because I laughed when I saw the thing about the emote meta, because I know that there are a number of people who actually love the Riot emotes, and it's really brilliant on two levels what Riot has actually done with emotes. On the one hand, they took something that's very maligned by many other card games for being bad manners and people want auto mute and whatever, and they found a way to make people actually excited about them. They customize their emotes, they purchase emotes, they got you to spend money on something that's usually very hated, but then also, for the folks who do still hate them, don't want to participate, you can just mute your opponent. And there's genius there, because if their opponent did spend money on these really cool emotes that they want to use, the other person never sees it. So Riot's getting you to spend money on things, and you might just be the only person enjoying it. The other person might never see it. I don't know. I thought about that when that part came up in the video, and how it's really very clever the way Riot took something that, again, is very hated, very maligned in many other card games in their communities, and found a way to make people excited about them.
And that's where Gauntlets come in. Gauntlets are limited time competitive modes with unique rules to play around and exclusive rewards to unlock. Every Gauntlet asks a simple question: can you make it to 7 wins? Over time, new Gauntlets with different rules will be added, so you'll...
Alright, so, again, if you're coming from the Elder Scrolls Legends, so far this should sound very, very familiar. I mean, this is basically like our Grand Melees, our Melee Gauntlets, our events that we had in the Elder Scrolls Legends. You'll probably have a standard mode, and they mentioned that here in a minute, and then some other modes. The thing that did stand out to me is exclusive rewards, so I'm curious what the threshold is going to be for said rewards. I wonder if it will be low, maybe not as low as just straight participating like it was in the Elder Scrolls Legends, but I imagine that it will be something, whether it is cosmetics or the like, because they said exclusive rewards, and obviously cards, while are always a fun reward, especially for folks trying to build a collection, those are not truly exclusive rewards. Now, Runeterra has a lot of different cosmetic options that us, Legends players didn't necessarily have for a long time, especially during the Direwolf days, but I mean, that's just good, because that means we could be earning anything from emotes to additional guardians to boards or card backs, right? We have that infrastructure already in place, and so I'm actually pretty excited to see what these game modes offer.
Skill in brand new ways. We might also bring back your favorites in the future.
The
And the
first
bring
Gauntlet
back
in
makes
June
sense 'cause
will
you wanna
use standard
recycle
deck
stuff.
building rules as we test drive the underlying tech. The next Gauntlet, however, will challenge you to build a deck using no more than one copy of each card.
Right. So
We
basically,
expect it
they're
to
just
be
saying,
very popular with cats and mixed.
you know, it's going to be standard to start and then singleton. Let's be honest, those are low-hanging fruit. It makes
But
sense for
Gauntlets
them to
aren't
start
the
with
only
them.
game in town. Let's talk about labs.
Now,
Labs
this
are
is
experimental
interesting
game
to
modes
me.
based on more extreme changes to the classic Legends of Runeterra formula. You'll never know what you're going to get with a lab, but we guarantee there will be wild gameplay and some mad science.
Labs are intended to be a little more chaotic and casual than Gauntlets. And if there's a lab you really love, it can make a return.
Like, let's just stop right here. This better be a permanent game board that you can either earn or buy at some point. Because this is cool. This is a really neat game board. But basically, what they're trying to say here is that Labs is going to be far more wackier. So the focus won't necessarily be on competition. So Gauntlets, while it still might have separate rules, and Gauntlets will be a way for them to test out changes in card pools and things like that, or maybe even like testing balance changes, etc. But doing so with competition still in mind. Labs is where they kind of don't really care about things being competitive. They can do something completely wild. But I wanted to highlight, like, this game board is actually really neat.
Someday.
The first experiment begins in July.
Look at this game board that they got going on here, right? There's a lot of stuff going on. But what stands out to me, because they're going to say, hey, we're not going to tell you what the first lab's going to be. It's going to be too wild. What stands out to me, and so this is why I wanted to pause it, is that this is a Noxus card, and this is a Freljord card, and this is a Demacia card, all while somebody's using
won't
the
spoil
Shadow
the
Isles
Hammerdinger
card
essence
back and
store,
thing.
But it involves unusual champion team-ups,
And
unpredictable
it
strategies,
says
and
unusual
action that
champion
starts
team-ups.
right on round 1.
So it would not shock me,
And there's
right?
something else happening in July.
It would not shock me, just to end on Labs, if one of the wackier things they do try are things like tricolor. So things that, you know, again, us, the Elder Scrolls Legends refugees, might fear. It's good to know that they are likely just kind of considering it for Labs. It might not even be tricolor. It could just be the Wild West. They might just say, like, use whatever you want. Use any combination of cards. That, again, would fit that kind of feel for Labs, but I just wanted to highlight it because that was definitely 3 regions on the board there for that Labs, like, quick clip that we got to see.
Legends of Runeterra's first event.
From time to time, we'll have special thematic events that bundle together cosmetic items, quests, and potentially a gauntlet or a lab. It's a month-long celebration of cool new stuff to check out.
During an event, every
So
player
this is
will have
interesting
access to
because
a series of limited time rewards that can be
they-
unlocked just
Yeah, I can pause it here and I can show you this, and you're going to kind of see going throughout. They don't really give us much here for what the upcoming event is going to be. There is no sneak peek like there was with the lab where you see the 3 different regions. But if you're somebody who loves League of Legends or Teamfight Tactics has kind of in a way been tying into this as well, you know that Riot likes to do these kind of thematic events, and they like trying to tie things together. So I think that this is their way to get these thematic events to chain through all of their games, because when they do the event in League, for example, then they also want it to maybe show up in Teamfight Tactics and now show up in Runeterra. And so if you're not familiar, there's usually like a series of quests, and then you can earn exclusive rewards tied to that. So in League, it's sometimes like character skins or other things that you can unlock for a limited time. I see it kind of being no different here. Now, it is worth noting that at least in League of Legends, there's some stuff that you can earn passively, and then there's like a battle pass that you can unlock that gets you like better rewards for that event. And the way that I've navigated that, right, my stance on that has always been like, I usually just look at the rewards, and if there's something I like, then I pay for the pass, and if there's something I don't like, then I don't. I don't know if that's going to be the case here, but it wouldn't shock me if they, one, did it that way, and it also wouldn't shock me if they didn't do it that way. Card games are a little bit different than straight up League, and obviously the cosmetics aren't as intense because there's, not the same level of effort into a full character skin because of all the different abilities and character textures and sprites and things that go into that. But, I don't want to discount the animators, right? Like these Guardians are actually pretty adorable, and I'm sure that a good amount of work goes into them. So I guess what I'm saying here is that whether this ends up being like paid events for some of the rewards or not, either way, I fully expect these events to have like time limited exclusive rewards tied to them.
Just by playing. There will also
And it says
be an
just
event
by
pass in
playing, so
store
at
that
least
adds
some of the
even more
rewards will just be
for
free
you
to play.
unlock along the way.
I'm preparing
plan to
you
add
because
more
in
ways to
League there is
personalize
some
your game
things
with
you kind of
each set
have to
of
pay
cards.
for.
But we also wanted to include opportunities to unlock sweet cosmetic content at other moments throughout the year.
We want events to be a great way to get even more rewarded for the hours you spend playing Legends of Runeterra. If you're the kind of player who likes collecting the latest and greatest, boards, guardians, emotes, and more, events are your time to shine.
Finally, we can't leave out all the new cards coming in 2020.
New cards.
We said before that each expansion will add a new region and cards for existing regions.
All right. So we said before, so they're going to be amending that, but don't fret. I think that most folks will still be pretty happy with what they're announcing here.
But we've also been looking for ways to make content even more impactful and keep the meta evolving as new cards enter the mix.
Our goal is to release more cards more frequently, creating back-to-back waves of new mechanics and champions. So in August, the next region of Runeterra will debut.
All right,
with
so
new
August.
champions and a bunch of supporting cards.
New region. Now, if you followed my original set speculation from a while ago, long before we knew that it was just going to be Bilgewater for Rising Tides, you know that through the data mining, we know the other upcoming region, or at least the stuff that's already done and we know the voice lines for, is Targon. So I fully expect this August release to be when we see the Targon region, and we're going to get like Leona and Diana, Aurelion Sol, all of them. And I'm really looking forward to this one because there was some cool stuff in it. But this is when I expect that set to drop.
Then every 2 months, we'll bring a new drop of cards, including more champions.
All right, so set with a new region, but now after that, they're going to start a cadence of every 2 months, you get new cards, including new champions. So this, I think, helps flesh out existing regions, which I think is really cool. It also gives us a nice cadence for guaranteeing we're getting new cards every 2 months. And if you follow their traditional cadence, we also get one major balance patch every month. So it sounds to me like the cadence is going to be like cards drop a month later, big balance patch a month later, cards drop. That's a great way to try to keep things fresh. I'm a big fan of this.
And every 6 months, the next region of Runeterra will join the roster.
And it looks like
No
they're going to
spoilers
continue
on
that.
what happens after that.
So he says no spoilers after that. So I don't know if this is going to be the end of the new regions, and then after that maybe is when they start thinking about either rotations or maybe they revisit things, but they, give us skinned versions of champions. One of the interesting things about the League of Legends intellectual property is because of all of the history with it and all of the skins and the things, even if you're kind of paying attention to what they do with Teamfight Tactics, they could quote unquote rotate out a region and then bring the same region back, but with an entirely new design, just by giving you a different version of the champions. So like they could rotate out Demacia and then bring back Demacia, but have it be, like Dread Knight Garen and a bunch of other stuff. Do I suspect that's the way they're going to go? Maybe not, but they just have a lot of flexibility with their intellectual property. So who knows after this what's going to happen. But I also would like to highlight something else that's really important and really cool about this particular piece, which is the fact that they said, this is what's happening for the rest of 2020. This is what's happening for 2021. And then no spoilers on after that. So they already have plans for like the next 2 years, right? That gives me a lot of confidence as somebody who enjoys the game that I can properly plan for the future because they're planning for the future. So even if we don't know like what every region's going to be here, even if this is not a very granular roadmap, the fact that very upfront they're saying like, this is what we're looking at going forward. It's just very refreshing and it feels good. So I'm a big fan of what they're doing here. And again, if you're coming from the Elder Scrolls Legends, like, you know what I'm talking about.
There will be new things coming to the game throughout the whole year.
In 2020, we're planning to tackle a bunch of key features and improvements you've requested, like an update to Master Rank LP, improvements
That's
to the deck
much
builder,
needed. Also
in-game
much needed.
leaderboards,
Great.
and yes, spectator support.
And there we go. So if there's one thing that I'm excited about, listen, new cards are great, but I kind of expect that, right? Like, that's a bit of a given. But the thing that I've been beating the stump for is this, for a number of reasons. One, yes, I like to cast events, and this is a great facilitator for that. But also, spectator support, I think, is something that is missed. I don't know if that's going to come through on my mic, but one of my children just screamed. One of the things that's been missed for me, and I didn't know that I missed it until I couldn't do it, is the ability to just hop in and watch a friend play a game. There are times where sometimes I just kind of want to play coach and I want to let them, you know, play a game and maybe say like, oh, hey, maybe you should try this, or yeah, I don't really know how to put it into words, but I've missed being able to do that.
While others are critical to supporting the future of Runeterra, especially its competitive scene.
And they say that there,
We're also
especially
currently
its
in development
competitive
on
scene.
other
So
modes, like tournaments and single-player experiences.
tournaments,
We don't have a lot to say
single-player
beyond the fact that they're in
experiences.
development, but when we're ready with more details, we'll be sure to share an update.
This is a very reassuring update today.
It's important
For
to us
a
that you
number
have
of
a good idea
reasons.
where the game is headed. We're super excited for the rest of 2020, and we hope you're starting to get excited too.
With new Gauntlet competitions, lab experiments, special events, and even more frequent card releases, Legends of Runeterra will have more ways than ever before to test your skills as a player, deck builder, and collector. No matter what kind of challenge
So,
gets your
for
gears
me,
turning, we're aiming to create
Today's
something you'll
announcement is
love
almost better
this
than
year.
any sort
As
of
always,
like
we'll
expansion
be paying
announcement
close
that they could have
attention to
given,
your
because
feedback and what you
it
choose
gives
to
me
play.
the reassurance that something that I enjoy
evaluating the
is
game
going to be
based on
around
your
for a long
experiences
time. It's
and
going to
not
be
just
supported
what
in
seems
many
like a
different
good idea.
ways, and
We
that they're
expect
going to
everything
continue to
mentioned in
expand
this video
on
to grow
self-expression
and
and
evolve over time.
cosmetics.
So we'll need your help to improve each feature and build Legends of Runeterra into the best game it can be.
Thanks for bearing with us as we struggle through our home video setup.
Andrew, your camera's messed up or something.
What is it?
Your hair looks shorter.
Really? Weird.
So, fun story about that, if you don't understand what this joke is alluding to, when they first started developing the game, Andrew Yip here, as a commitment to the team and to the project, said he wasn't going to cut his hair until the game launched. So, now that Runeterra has officially launched and it's on all platforms, he has trimmed his hair. But it's also just kind of like really cool to see this have been a thing, right? And it just shows the commitment. Again, like, these developers just seem to really enjoy the game, and they are very upfront about their listening.
Stay safe.
I
and thanks for watching.
I like all the Riot employees I've interacted with. So whether it's Andrew Yip, who, you know, I follow on Twitter and things like that, or people like Panic Control, who also works on the game but streams, or Aleko, or Jenny Halls, who's on Twitter. Basically, like, anybody that I've ever interacted with who works on the game, you can tell that they have a level of passion for it. And so it shows in the final product. These are people who very clearly, I think, enjoy making this game. And it could have been very easy for folks who are working on this to see this almost like a chore, right? Like, imagine Riot comes to you and you love League of Legends and they say like, hey, we want you to make a card game. If card games aren't your thing, or if this isn't something you wanted to do, it could be very easy to kind of mail it in. But I've never got that feeling or that sense from the development team. And like I said, it shows in the final product. So anyway, that's it for their video. I'm really excited for Spectator. I love the card release cadence, and I love that they're also doing it every 2 months to allow for those balance patches in between. The new modes sound exciting, and I want to know what you guys think. Is there anything that you are excited about specifically in the video? Again, for me, it's probably spectator support, just because I miss casting. And while I have cast some Runeterra events, it's a bit of a chore to set up on the production side of things right now. So anytime that can be made easier, I'm going to be a fan. But you know, what excites you? What are you looking to check out? And yeah, if you made it this far, thanks for watching. I appreciate you, and until next time.